Revelation 1547. From the 1st of August 1940. Bread of Heaven. This is the bread of life that the Lord Himself offers you in His love. This love prepares food for your soul, which supplies it with everything it needs for its earthly transformation. And who eats from this bread, he will live in eternity. With loving care the Lord of heaven and earth remembers that time which follows earthly life, and for the sake of this time He sends the bread of heaven to man so that the soul may eat it and get strength to overcome the last obstacles. For the life after death is still a divine secret to the senses of man. He cannot yet form an idea of the tasks that await him, and the knowledge of this must first be imparted to him before he can fulfill this task. But the knowledge about it is the nourishment of the soul, the knowledge about it is the bread of heaven, and the knowledge about it is also the power to be able to fulfill the preconditions to be admitted to that task one day. And everything spiritual demands nourishment from above, in order to be increased by the spiritual supply in itself. And if man stands in the spiritual experience, this food from heaven is for him the only desirable thing. He receives according to his desire and has no restrictions to fear. And yet, man will have to constantly struggle against the power that tries to weaken the desire in him, for such is the greatest danger. Man is given what he desires, but without desire such a gift cannot be given to him. And therefore the one who wants to receive must be careful to stir up the inner desire. He must keep the glorious goal in mind, which requires great strength from him to reach, and now desire this strength for the sake of that high goal. He must also ask God for His help so that he does not succumb to the opposing power, for it works mightily to weaken man's will. But having once consciously received the bread of heaven, the will upwards becomes so strong that the power of the adversary is ineffective, because God blesses the bread of heaven with His power, and the adversary is powerless against it. And this should be an incentive for you humans to desire the food of heaven with all your heart, since it gives you the strength to resist, increased desire and a rich knowledge of the divine work and rule in His creation. It facilitates the ascent to the heights, which cannot be overcome without the power supply from God. Desire nothing more than this food and refresh yourselves with it at any time, then you will go strengthened through earthly life, you will increase in wisdom, love will increase in you, because what is offered to you out of love must awaken love in you again and therefore bear thousandfold fruit. Because he who is allowed to receive the bread of heaven from the hands of God will also want to pass it on, and therefore love will increase. It will urge every man to pass on the delicious things he himself receives, and this urge comes from the love that wants to be active. And therefore everything that is born of love will awaken love again, it will transfer the power from God and pass it on to all who desire the bread of heaven, may receive it and hand it out again to their fellow man. For that which proceeds from God will never run dry, but will always and continually remain a spring, which is a refreshment to every thirsty wanderer. Amen.